fifth graders, it's Miss Anderson, ready to teach you some math. Today we're going to start a little different. We're going to start with our at-home classroom norms, some norms to follow while watching our videos. First one says, have a positive attitude. Come with an open mind when you watch these videos, ready to learn. The second one says, be respectful. Be respectful to your teachers who are making these videos. We're going to make mistakes, but that's okay because that's part of learning. And be respectful to yourself. It's okay to make mistakes. You can always re-watch the video to learn more. That kind of goes into our last one. Keep trying even when it's hard. This distance learning thing is really hard for teachers and for students. So when it gets hard, make sure that you have someone to go to. Your teacher is here to support you and they love you and they want to help. So keep trying even when it's hard. Today, our learning target is I can solve story problems involving fractions and decimals. So this is on page 204. I'm going to show you that page right now. At the top, it says fraction decimal story problems. I'm going to skip this first one because it's an addition fraction problem and you've been doing addition fraction problems for the past couple weeks. So I would like you to try that one on your own and send it to your teacher. I will be working out number 2 with decimals and number 3 for you on this video. So stay tuned. Thanks. Hello friends, we are going to do number 2 together. So I'm going to read it out loud and then show you some strategies. It says, Tommy picked 2 baskets full of apples. One basket weighed 18 6/63 kilograms. The other basket weighed 9 97 kilograms. How much more did the first basket weigh? When we're doing problems like this, we need to ask ourselves, what is the problem asking us? So I know the problem's asking us, how much more did the first basket weigh than the second basket? So I'm going to underline my numbers. My first basket weighed 18 63 hundredths, and my second basket weighed 9 97 hundredths. So I know that I have to subtract 18 63 hundredths subtracted 9 97 hundredths. Friends, there's an easy strategy where you can stack these and just do the standard algorithm for subtraction. 18 63 hundredths subtracted 9 97 hundredths. Make sure you line up the place values correctly when you do that. However, I am going to show you a different strategy. This strategy is called the constant difference. And I used to call it in class the give-give, just to remember what to do in the strategy. So the constant difference, I always look and see how I can make my number that I'm subtracting from, or subtracting, a nice round number. And I know that 9 97 hundredths is really close to 10. And if I can change it to 10, then I can easily subtract it. But when I do the constant difference, I can't just change one number in my equation. I have to change both of them so they stay constant. And so that's what the constant from constant difference is. So I am going to make my 9 97 hundredths into 10. I know that I have to add 3 hundredths. Now if I add 3 hundredths to this one to make it constant, I also have to add 3 hundredths to my other number in my equation. So friends, this is why I call it the give-give. You're giving the same amount to both numbers that you're subtracting. So I would end up with a new equation that's a little easier. This would just be 10, and you can have the 0, 0. And then if I add 3 to here, 3, not just 3, 3 hundredths, then I end up with 18 66 hundredths. Now I can see that subtracting 10 from 18 and 66 hundredths is so much easier. I just come out with 8 66 hundredths. So I know that my first basket weighed 8 and 66 hundredth kilograms more than my second basket. So I have to write a statement for that. The first basket weighed 8 and 66 hundredth kilograms more. So I know that I have my units and the correct number. Hello, friends. We are now going to do number 3 together. And so let's read it out loud. Kaya filled 3 1/4 baskets with apples. On her way home, the basket spilled and she lost 2 1/3 baskets of apples. What portion of the apples did not spill? So friends, we are asking ourselves, what does this problem ask us to figure out? What portion of the apples did not spill? How much does she have left? She started with 3 1/4 and she spilled 2 1/3. So I know that when she spilled something, that means she's taking away from the baskets 3 1/4 that she had in the beginning. 3 1/4, take away, subtraction, 2 1/3 that she spilled. For numbers, or for problems like this with fractions, I like to rewrite it as an addition problem with a blank. That makes it a little easier in my head. So this is just a strategy. You can still subtract it just like this when finding common denominators, but I'm going to show you another strategy. I would change it into 2 1/3 plus blank equals 3 1/4. So I have to figure out how much I need to add to 2 1/3 to get to 3 1/4. That helps me to use my number line. So I am going to use a number line, start with 2 1/3 and add, jump to get to 3 1/4. 2 1/3, and I'm going to jump as many jumps as it takes to get to 3 1/4. As I'm looking at my number line, 2 1/3 is really close to 3. If I just add 2 more thirds, I get to 3. So let's jump 2 thirds, and I end up at 3. And now that I'm looking at that, I just need 1/4 to get to 3 1/4. 3 plus 1/4 gets me to 3 1/4. Now you may be thinking, Miss Anderson, where's my answer? Well, I started with 2 1/3 and I had to add a blank something here to get to 3 1/4. So these jumps added together are my answer. So I have to then add 2 thirds plus 1/4. Now I know I can change these to have common denominators. I can't add them like this. I have to change them to a common denominator. So I'm going to put them into a ratio table to find a common denominator. So if I put 2 thirds in a ratio table, I know that a common denominator, I can multiply the two denominators. 3 times 4 is 12. So if I multiply 3 times 4, I get 12. I have to do the same thing to the top. 2 times 4 is 8. So I end up with 8 12s. Now I need to change 1/4. So I'm going to put 1/4 into a ratio table. Let's do it right here. I know that I'm using 12ths as my denominator. 4 times 3 is 12, and 1 times 3 is 3. So I have to do the same thing to the top as to the bottom. Now I can add 8 12s plus 3 12s easily. 8 plus 3 is 11, and you keep the same denominator. So friends, now I go back up and I can fill in my blank. 11 12s here. I can fill in my answer here, and I can write my statement. What portion of the apples did not spill? 11 12s of the apples did not Thank you, friends, for doing some math with me. Make sure to turn in the problems to your teachers. See you next time.